My name is Ray Chatham. I'm 30 years old, and for most of my life, I've learned a very particular kind of survival tactic: how to move forward quietly, how to succeed without drawing attention, how to keep my wins small and contained. In my family, success didn't spark pride or celebration. It sparked comparison, bitterness, and resentment. So when I finally became a homeowner, I didn't tell anyone. No announcement, no photos, no congratulatory posts. I signed the paperwork, walked out of the bank, sat alone in my car, and stared down at my hands trembling on the steering wheel. Not from fear, but from disbelief. For once, something good had happened that I built entirely on my own. The house came to me in a way that still feels unreal when I think about it. A close friend's grandfather, a former general contractor who'd spent his entire life fixing what others broke, was moving to Florida. I'd known him for years. He was practical, steady, the kind of man who respected effort more than charm, and consistency more than promises. His house wasn't flashy. It was a manufactured home from the early 80s, but it had been upgraded piece by piece over decades. New siding, a solid roof, rewired electrical, and a detached garage he'd built with his own hands back when his knees still cooperated. He offered it to me for $200,000. No competition, no rush, just a quiet handshake agreement. "I know you'll take care of it," he told me. I had $30,000 saved, scraped together over years of discipline. No vacations, no splurges, no rewards. I practically sprinted to the bank. When the loan was approved, I didn't celebrate. I just felt this deep, grounding relief settle into my chest. The house meant stability, safety, space. It meant I wouldn't have to keep my camping gear stuffed into my parents' garage like a kid who never fully launched. It meant I finally had a place where I could exist without apologizing. What I didn't understand yet was that the house wasn't just a milestone. It was a provocation, especially for my older sister. Her name is Lauren Chatham. She's 32, and growing up, she always needed to stay a step ahead of me, or at least look like she was. Lauren has always treated my life like a blueprint. If I bought something, she needed the same thing. If I showed interest in something, it suddenly became her passion too. Not because she loved it, but because she couldn't stand that I did. For years, I tried to laugh it off. Siblings copy each other, right? But this wasn't admiration, it was competition. I bought a TV, she upgraded hers. I changed cars, she did too. I started camping, and suddenly she was posting photos from the same campsites, acting like she discovered them first. It was exhausting, but manageable. A house, though, couldn't be duplicated so easily. Lauren didn't even hear it from me. She found out through our mother. I didn't get the chance to explain or frame it myself. The call came one evening while I was surrounded by half-unpacked boxes in my new living room. The echo of her voice filled the empty space. Before I could even say hello, she exploded. "You did this on purpose." No congratulations, no curiosity, just accusation. She said I was trying to embarrass her, that I bought a house just to make her look bad, that it was unfair I'd managed it before she did. She ranted about her credit, her unstable income, how the system favored me. I listened. Then I said the truth calmly. "I didn't buy a house at you, Lauren. I bought it because I wanted a home." That sentence sent her spiraling. She told me I should have waited, that I should have consulted family, that I should have thought about how this would make her feel. Every argument boiled down to the same message: if I can't have it, you shouldn't either. She called me selfish, said I was abandoning the family, said I was trying to make her feel small. What hurt wasn't the jealousy, it was the assumption that my life decisions required her approval. I told her I was done shrinking myself to keep others comfortable. She hung up. After that, the tension didn't disappear. It fermented. Passive-aggressive comments at family dinners, jokes that weren't jokes. Then, suddenly, she shifted. The complaints stopped. The questions started.
How many rooms? What are you doing with the garage? Her tone was light, almost friendly, and that unsettled me more than her anger ever had. Lauren never accepts no, she just changes strategies. One night, standing alone in my kitchen, boxes stacked around me, I felt proud and deeply uneasy, like I'd crossed a line I wasn't supposed to. When she called again, her voice was smooth, almost reasonable. She asked how I was settling in, laughed when I mentioned still sleeping on a camping cot. Then she said it. "You've got extra space now." My stomach tightened instantly. She explained how living in her camper was wearing her down, how winter was coming, how family should help family. She framed it like a favor. I laughed, thinking she had to be joking. I said no. The silence that followed was thick. Then the mask fell. She accused me of overreacting, said sisters help each other. Then she offered rent, $200 a month, utilities included. I realized she was serious. I said no again. That's when she went to our mother. 2 days later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to see Lauren standing behind Mom, arms crossed, wearing that smug smile that meant she thought she'd won. Mom immediately asked why I wouldn't let my sister move in. I said no, calmly. Mom cried. Lauren turned red. Guilt followed. Then I snapped. I told them the truth, that Lauren didn't want a home, she wanted mine, that she couldn't be trusted, that I would never live with her again. My dad backed me up when I called him. Mom finally gave in. Lauren left furious, telling me to go to hell. I laughed because I knew this wasn't over. Lauren didn't speak to me after that. No messages, no apologies. Silence from her was never peace. It was pressure. I found out what happened a week later when my dad called me. His voice sounded tired in a way I recognized from childhood. She lost it, he said, completely. Apparently, Lauren had gone back to our parents' house after leaving mine, and stayed there for hours. She paced, she ranted, she replayed the scene at my front door again and again, each time rewriting it so she was the victim. According to her, I had betrayed the family. I had forgotten my place. I had let money turn me into someone ugly. Then the truth finally slipped out. She said, "You weren't supposed to get the house first." My dad told me she said that was supposed to be her life, that you were supposed to be the one struggling. Hearing that didn't hurt the way I expected. It clarified everything.
For years, I'd wondered why Lauren reacted so strongly to my independence, why my milestones seemed to enrage her instead of inspire her, why she followed me so obsessively but never felt happy for me. It was never about what she wanted, it was about what she needed me not to be. At my parents' house, Lauren finally said it out loud. She was the older sister. She was supposed to be successful first. I was supposed to stay behind her quietly, permanently. Dad told me she shouted it through tears, fists clenched, face red. She accused him and Mom of letting me outgrow her, of failing to stop me, of choosing me. That was when Dad snapped. He stood up, walked over to her, and tapped her leg with his cane. Not hard, just enough to get her attention. "That's not how life works," he said. Lauren stared at him like she didn't recognize him. He told her that no one owed her a timeline, that being older didn't entitle her to achievements, that jealousy wasn't proof of injustice, it was proof of insecurity. Mom tried to calm things down, tried to soften it. Dad didn't let her. He told Lauren she'd crossed a line, that she was being pointlessly cruel and dangerously obsessed, that if she couldn't cool off and take responsibility for her behavior, she needed to leave. Lauren laughed, actually laughed. She told him they couldn't kick her out, that family didn't work like that, that she'd done nothing wrong except expect fairness. Dad pointed to the door. "Get out," he said, "and don't come back until you've figured out why you think tearing your sister down will fix your life." She screamed, she cried, she accused, and then she left, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. When Dad finished telling me all this, there was a long pause on the phone. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I should have shut this down years ago." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to cry. part of me felt strangely calm because for the first time, someone else had finally seen what I'd been living with. After that, things got quiet. Lauren cut contact with me completely, blocked me everywhere. From what I heard, she barely spoke to our parents either. She packed up her camper and left town without telling anyone where she was going. I installed cameras around my house anyway, inside, outside, a dash cam in my car. Lauren knew about them. I made sure she did. I wasn't afraid of her, but I was done being careless. Mom called me a few days later, voice hesitant. She tried one last angle. "Well," she said carefully, "what if Lauren didn't live in the house itself? What if she stayed in the garage? There's space in the storage room." I stopped her immediately. No. No explanations, no justifications, just no. I reminded her gently but firmly that Lauren offered $200 a month and conveniently forgotten to mention that part when she'd cried to Mom about being homeless. Mom went quiet. I think that was when it finally clicked. Not long after, I rented out the spare bedroom to a close friend for $600 a month, utilities not included. Another friend moved into the converted garage space after we remodeled it with plywood and insulation. Both paid on time, both respected my space, both treated my house like it wasn't theirs to take. I won't lie, part of me did it out of spite, but mostly I did it because I was done letting guilt make decisions for me. Lauren never came back. From what I heard through extended family, she told people she'd been forced out, that I'd turned everyone against her, that I'd changed after buying the house. Maybe I had. I had learned something important. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's permission. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't giving Lauren permission to hurt me anymore. The silence that followed Lauren's departure felt unnatural at first. No angry texts, no dramatic voicemails, no third-hand messages delivered through relatives who just wanted to help. For someone who had taken up so much emotional space in my life, Lauren's absence was loud. I didn't celebrate it. I didn't feel victorious. Mostly, I felt cautious, like someone who'd just escaped a storm and wasn't sure if it was truly over or simply moving out of sight. I stayed alert, the cameras stayed on, the door stayed locked, the spare keys stayed exactly where I wanted them, one with a trusted friend, another hidden well enough that even I had to think twice about where it was. People told me I was being dramatic. They hadn't lived my life. Mom called occasionally. She didn't bring Lauren up much anymore, but when she did, it was tentative, like testing ice with the tip of her shoe. "She's struggling," Mom said once. "I worry about her." "I worry about me too," I replied. Not sharply, just honestly. And that was the difference. For the first time, my well-being was part of the equation. Life in the house settled into something that felt almost foreign, calm. My friend in the spare bedroom paid rent on time every month and asked before borrowing anything. The friend in the garage space treated it like a privilege, not an entitlement. The house stopped feeling like a battleground and started feeling like a home. Sometimes late at night, I'd sit in the garage and tinker with small projects, music playing softly, the door open to the cool air. I'd think about how much energy I'd spent shrinking myself over the years just to keep the peace, and how little peace that had actually bought me. Dad came by one afternoon, not long after everything settled. He walked through the house slowly, nodding at the improvements, smiling in that quiet way he had when he was proud but didn't want to overdo it. "This place suits you," he said. It was a small sentence. It meant everything. He told me Lauren hadn't reached out, that she was still angry, still blaming everyone else. "I hope she figures it out," he said, "but it's not your job to fix her." Hearing that from him felt like a weight lifting, one I hadn't realized I'd been carrying since childhood. Lauren never contacted me again. No apology, no explanation, no closure. And surprisingly, I was okay with that. I learned something through all of this, something I wish I'd understood sooner. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel, protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish, and refusing to sacrifice your stability for someone else's ego doesn't make you heartless, it makes you sane. I still love my sister in the way you love someone from a distance, carefully, with limits, without access to the parts of your life they've proven they can't respect. As for me, I wake up every morning in a house that is mine. I lock the doors when I leave. I trust my instincts now.
and for the first time, I don't feel like I owe anyone an explanation for living my own life.